should explain that my backyard backs up to at least 300 acres of conservation land. There were these incredibly heavy footsteps up
Mm.
there. I paused the music because it was unusual, and it's very unusual. None of my neighbors go into that backwoods at all. So I paused the music, and the footsteps continued for two more times, and then they stopped. And so I'm sitting there on the porch, kind of reaching for my phone, trying to get the voice memo app, and
Yeah.
I'm sort of waiting for something to start up again, and nothing did. Second night that I actually got better audio on, there were like somebody had two rocks and was clicking them together. And this was couldn't have been more than 50 yards away from where I
Mhm.
was actually sitting on the porch.
Broadcasting seeds. Broadcasting seeds. Planting truth in the minds of the people.
John Merz is a U.S. Air Force veteran, a martial artist, an author, and the host of The Weekly Strange, a twice-weekly podcast covering cryptids and UAPs and lost civilizations and the supernatural. But here's what separates John from most people in the space. He doesn't just study the strange from behind his desk. He's been sitting on his porch, backed up to 300 acres of conservation land where something 50 yards away started clicking rocks together in the dark. John is what he calls a skeptical optimist. He's not here to sell you a conclusion. He's here to ask better questions. And his theory about where Sasquatch and other cryptids are actually hiding is going to make you look at your own neighborhood very differently. Today, we're getting into suburban cryptids, lost civilizations, why academics bury the researchers who get too close to the truth, and the one thing John says people in the paranormal world understand that the rest of the world has completely forgotten. So, John, you've lived several lives already, man. So, author, veteran, podcaster. Which one of those shapes the others the most?
Ooh, I would say the fact that I'm a veteran, the fact that I've been in martial arts for 45, almost 45 years now. It it taught me early on about how to persevere in the face of challenge, and that has gone a long way towards sort of propelling me in different areas of my life. We were talking before the show started. My personal motto is "Who dares lives," which is taken from the British SAS "Who dares wins" motto. And I am somebody that wants to experience as many different things in life as possible. My father passed when I was 23 years old. So his death has sort of informed every decision that I've, every sort of interesting pathway that I've walked in my life. It has been informed by his passing. So I want to do as much as I can.
Do it all.
Yeah, I fell into acting in 2014 because as a writer, I'm constantly chasing new experiences. And I had an opportunity to do a photo shoot. And at the end of the photo shoot, the camera guy was like, "Oh, you should really get representation. The camera likes you." And I was like, "Dude, I write books. You don't have to blow smoke up my ass. It's totally fine." He's like, "No, I'm being serious." And then, before I know it, I'm in a mini series on the History Channel called "The Cars That Made America," and then I'm in a Whitney Houston movie. And it's that attitude of just being open to different experiences is it's wild. And I have a great life. Um, I'm recently a sarcoma survivor. I announced that on my show
Amazing.
just on Sunday. Found a
Congrats.
strange lump. Yeah, thank you, man. Found a strange lump in my back about 9 months ago. Fortunately, it was entirely contained within the muscle, so they kind of snipped the top, snipped the bottom, lifted it out like a sausage, and put it aside, and
Wow.
that's yeah. All the while still bringing the episodes out. It's been a crazy couple of the last couple of 9 months there. So
That's wild.
yeah.
So what really was your gateway to this whole like the idea of
Oh
your
yeah.
show, like what was the gateway to this world of high strangeness, I'll say.
So I was a kid, and I was born in '69. So I remember very vividly seeing the promotions, the advertisements for In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. And
Yes.
it's
Great
the
show.
surgeon's photo of Loch Ness, and
Right.
then it was the Patterson-Gimlin film. And I remember just being honestly captivated by that, and going to my parents and saying, what is this show? Like, first of all, what's that creature? And then what's that creature? Oh, it's supposed to be this big hairy guy that lives in the woods. And I was like, what? Well, what? And that was it. I was off to the races after that. It was very much, I used to have, in the early '70s, you could get kids' bedroom furniture that was made out of heavy duty cardboard. And I can remember having a little nightstand that had 3 drawers on it that you could pull out. And I would literally snip newspaper clippings, and the top drawer was for UFOs, the second drawer was for Bigfoot, and then everything else went into the third drawer. And I would just constantly stuff things aside in there. And so I've been addicted to it for as long as I can remember. It's only in the last couple of years that I've actually been able to really sort of devote some time to exploring it to a respectable degree.
Yeah, right. Have you ever had an encounter?
I have I have something.
I love it. I've done something.
Something, yes, there's something there.
Yes.
Last year, my wife and I, we have a nice 3-season porch that we like to sit out. We play music out there. We've got the lights. We set it up during COVID, so we call it Club VIP, and we
Yes.
sit out there, have a couple of cocktails. And she had gone in to get a refresh on her drink, and the song that was playing was coming to an end, so there was that dead space between music. And all of a sudden, I just outside, and I should explain that my backyard backs up to at least 300 acres of conservation land. There were these incredibly heavy footsteps up
Hmm.
there. And I paused the music because it was unusual, and it's very unusual. None of my neighbors go into that backwoods at all. So I paused the music, and the footsteps continued for 2 more times, and then they stopped. And so
Hmm.
I'm sitting there on the porch, kind of reaching for my phone, trying to get the voice memo app, and
Yeah.
I'm sort of waiting for something to start up again, and nothing did. So now I'm trying to record. I'm kind of like, guys, I don't. And this was probably about 2 or 3 months after I started the Weekly Strange, and I'm sort of sitting there, and I'm going, I'm hearing some stuff, and I don't know what it is, and so forth and so on. So that was the first night, and then the second night that I actually got better audio on, there were like somebody had two rocks and was clicking them together. And this was couldn't have been more than 50 yards away from where I
Hmm.
was actually sitting on the porch. Didn't find anything in the woods, but very odd, and it got me into thinking. My working theory is that these creatures, whatever they may be, are actually closer to us than we think they are. I mean,
Oh yeah.
a lot of people think that you got to go into the deep dark woods to find them. I'm about 20 miles southwest of Boston, and I have plenty of green space around me.
Hmm.
It's just huge. So my whole investigative slant when I get out into the field is looking. I call it suburban Sasquatch. I think there's a
I
chance that they could be
totally
a
agree
lot
with you.
closer. You know. So that's the extent of what I've had so far. Just those 2 nights where it was just very odd. and not and I've been in those woods. I've been in other woods, very comfortable in them, and this was unlike anything that I'd heard previously. So,
Yeah, I've had encounters in both Massachusetts and Connecticut.
oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
I lived in Connecticut from age 13 to 18, and my
Okay.
family's from there.
Yeah.
So,
Whereabouts?
Fairfield, and then New Haven as well.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So Fairfield's, you know, between like halfway between Greenwich and New Haven. So
Okay. Nice.
yeah, so I get it. And it's all
It's
woods, man.
interesting.
The whole thing's woods. It's all one giant wildlife corridor as far as I'm concerned. You know, it
Absolutely.
really is. Um, so yeah, that's wild.
It'll be interesting. So I'm coming up on a year. It was around this point last year where I heard those noises. So I'm going to be setting up the audio recorder out
Yeah.
there and other things and see if we can get something this year.
Yeah. This is one of the things that I do. I go hunt for Bigfoot. Um,
Yeah.
I go to way out in the woods, and then I go to more local areas as well. So yeah, it's fun. It's definitely cool, and it gets you out in the
Gets you out in the woods.
exactly. So how bad can it
Appreciative of
be?
Mother Nature. How could you not? How could you not? You know.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
although I am told that the ticks around me this year are absolutely brutal, so
Yeah.
that'll be something.
I just did a episode on the Plum Island, which isn't
Oh,
far
okay.
from you either. So there,
Yeah.
you know, and I live in New York now. So
Are you upstate?
upstate, I'm right
Yeah.
outside Syracuse. So
Okay, great. Great.
so we get hammered with the ticks too.
It's
It's a
brutal.
pain. But I just
Brutal.
did an episode on the conspiracy of Lyme disease. So
Oh, okay.
fun times. Yeah.
I'm the only thing I'm really concerned about with, I mean, I should be concerned about Lyme disease too, but I'm super concerned about that thing that causes you to reject meat
Oh, alpha
because,
Gale.
yes,
It's the
because
Lone
it,
Star tick. So yeah, different tick.
I'm
And
told they're in Massachusetts though.
I think I've heard that too.
Yeah.
But I've also heard that like they don't talk about a cure, but I think there might be one. But
Okay, because
still.
all I'm saying is if I get bitten by that, I will literally starve to death because vegetables and I do not have a good relationship.
Well, if you get alpha Gale, I mean now I can send you to somebody that
Okay,
I think has a treatment. So
I gotta have my steaks.
yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you, man. Yeah, I'm right there with you for sure. Um, so with your writing, let's touch on this just a second. You've written dozens of books, right?
Yep.
And what does fiction allow you to say that like nonfiction sometimes can't?
Um, I think fiction allows you to take real world experience and inject it into a fantastical situation such
It's
that
lovely.
you don't have to get security clearance
Yes.
in order to
Yeah.
publish it. So let's just let's put it at that. When my first novels came out, my first one came out in 2002, and I started hearing from certain people in certain communities, and they would send me email and say stuff along the lines of, "Wow, your vampire Jason Bourne character really seems to have an interesting background." So it was definitely a matter of going, "Oh yeah, well, I'm a writer, so."
I am a writer and I have an active imagination.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I enjoy the fifth book in that Lawson series is actually my based on my trip to Japan in 2003, where I got my fifth degree black belt from the grandmaster of the martial art tradition that I study. So I took all that experience from there and put it into the context of a supernatural adventure for the main character. So while he's trying to solve this, he's going through this.
Your
So
Jason Bourne vampire character. I love
Jason
that.
Bourne
That's really
vampire
funny. It's
character.
really
Yeah. I always tell people, look, if you're looking for the great American novel, please do not buy my books. But if you are on a plane or you're on a beach and you just want some brain candy, hey, I'm your guy.
It's a great read.
It's fun. It's quick. It's breezy.
It's amazing. That's
Uh,
amazing. What inspired you to launch the Weekly Strange? And
ah,
like why now? Like which I mean it's been a bit, but you know,
yeah, I think it was a number of things for me. As an author, it's harder and harder to get eyeballs on your work. Facebook used to be fantastic. You could have a page, you could have a group, and then Zuckerberg decided to literally monetize everything.
Yeah.
and started throttling your feed so that if I put a post out on Facebook, instead of the 5,000 people that are subscribed to my page being able to see it, 15 will see it, and then it'll just go away unless I choose to pay Facebook to advertise it. So
Right.
I was faced with this problem of how do I get eyeballs on the fact that I've written all these books, and simultaneously I was writing screenplays and I was generating content, and YouTube for me is the new, and for Hollywood too, it seems, is the new proving ground
Hmm.
for new ideas, for new creators. So if you can establish yourself on YouTube and generate good content that looks decent, that has good production value to it, as your show does, and hopefully as my show does, then you can start to attract a following. You can hopefully channel some of those folks that are following you into becoming readers of your work. You can hopefully expose them to some different stuff, some different ideas. I have some short films that we're going to be putting out on the channel as well. So for me, it was taking a look at the best possible platform to create on, and YouTube filled all of those boxes perfectly. So when it came time to trying to figure out, okay, so how am I going to do this? The first thing that popped into my head was, oh, I want to do a paranormal podcast.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I finally just want to get back to my roots, so to speak, and the in search of and go for it.
Have you done any other podcasting before this or not?
I had, so I used to have a written newsletter, and then I decided to do a podcast called Dead Drop, which was my sort of like my personal video newsletter, and I
Yeah.
ran that for a while. I did another podcast called Cocktails and Screams with a guy that I used to work with. We did that for a little bit, but no, this is the first real sort of major initiative on my part, and when I realized that I wanted to do it, I wanted to make sure that it's worth people's time to tune into. So that means good video, good audio, um, good production value, and so forth and so on. And so we're coming up on our 100th episode, and so I've got a brand new sort of intro that I'm getting ready to launch with the 100th episode, and
Yeah.
hopefully just keep elevating things.
Yeah, I do. It's awesome. Um, yeah, but with like covering the paranormal and I'll say weird stories, right?
Hmm.
Weekly. And you've been doing this for a bit now, 100 episodes. It's congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you,
That's
appreciate it.
pretty awesome.
Couple more weeks, but
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like there's milestones
yeah,
and those matter in this business. They do.
absolutely.
It matters to the algorithm. It matters to all kinds of things. So, so with that being said, though, the weekly stories, what patterns are you noticing, in what people are hungry to like for right now? I mean, like obviously we have like UFOs and disclosure, and
Right.
I did really like your analyzing of uh the 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 bloom of Bigfoot in Ohio. That
Yeah.
was a pretty good one too. So, but
Thank you.
like with that being said, what
Yeah.
what are you seeing?
A lot of Bigfoot, a
A
lot
lot
of
of
stuff.
Bigfoot.
So I can, given the sort of the five pillars of my channel, I can look at my video performances, as you absolutely know as well, and see which of my videos get traction. And it's always the Bigfoot
Yeah.
Sasquatch videos. Um, I just had an episode last night talking about Dogman in Connecticut that I thought was going to take off and just go through the roof because I've had other Dogman episodes do that, but this one didn't. So I think the public right now is really hungry for the Sasquatch videos. But
Plus,
I
you
don't.
just never know.
Yeah.
It's so
Plus, you never
wild.
know exactly. Yeah, and there have been. I'm told that once you hit 10,000 subscribers, things change on YouTube, and I'm about 900 subscribers away from that waypoint.
Yeah.
But it's been very interesting to just sort of look at the analytics and see the little dips and peaks as you're climbing ever higher. And I mean, I'm not saying that the algorithm's out to get you, but there are certainly, I feel like there are certain little crucibles that come
There
along
is.
the
I would
line.
agree with you. I would
Yes.
agree.
I'll have a fantastic week, and then the very next week it'll be a dead zone out there, despite maintaining that posting frequency.
Yeah.
And I find myself going, okay, I didn't do anything wrong,
You're
so
like
what's
you're like
yeah, total
scratching
head
your head.
scratch, yeah. So
I get it. My most popular episode is an episode I absolutely hate.
hmm,
I am not, it's not anywhere near one of my best episodes. It
yeah,
was done, but whatever. It doesn't make any sense. And then episodes that I totally love, like you were
yeah,
saying, like Dogman, I, nothing. It's like 1,000
crickets.
views over
Yeah,
over a year. You're like, what? It's
yeah.
so weird.
It's even weirder when all of us. So my very first episode last year, last March, was about the discovery of Bigfoot tracks in Maine, and that came out in March. I think it was like March 14th. And then all of a sudden around June, it blew up just out of the blue and just got 50,000 views in the
Right.
matter of a couple of days.
So
And
bizarre.
I'm sitting there going, okay, I mean, this is great, but
Yeah.
I have no idea why. And then
Yeah.
the same thing happened to another video of mine, the werewolf photo over in the UK. That was something that I posted, and then again, there was sort of like a 90-day delay, and all of a sudden it just blew up, and it
It's like
was
a hockey
so
stick, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so strange. And I know that there's, I'm sure there's this incredible amount of scientific data behind everything, but damned if I could figure it
But
out.
sometimes there's just not. I
No,
think it's just, it is what it is.
yeah.
So, you know,
I think the single biggest thing that we can do as creators is just maintain that consistent schedule,
Mhm.
try
Mhm.
to elevate the production every time, make good episodes, and hopefully people enjoy it. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's not much you can do after that. I mean,
No.
so,
So-
so it is what it is. It's out in the ether at that point. So,
absolutely.
so
It's
do you,
very much
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No, go
No,
ahead.
it's very much like being a writer. You create this thing, you spend all this time on it, and then you just have to release it and go, that's it, folks.
If
I'm
they
sitting
like
here
it, they
naked.
like it. If not,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, man. Do you think people are searching, how do I say it, for truth, entertainment, or like meaning when they consume strange content like that?
I think people are searching, and this is going to sound like a dichotomy. I think they are searching for the security of mystery. And by
Okay.
that, I mean, there is so much in our world right now that, I mean, we walk around with these phones in our pocket that literally have the entirety of knowledge that we possess as a species on it. And
Yes.
as such, excuse me, life can get pretty boring. And so when you have this prospect of a creature like a Sasquatch, or you have this prospect of extraterrestrials or some other supernatural phenomenon, there's as strange as it sounds, there's a reassurance there that I think a lot of people find comfort in. It's nice to say at the end of the day when you close your eyes, we don't know everything yet. We don't have the answer for this. We think we might have an opinion on it,
Hmm.
but and there's a certain level of comfort in that because it means that your life still has a certain degree of excitement in it. If we woke up tomorrow to definitive proof that Sasquatch exists, think about how groundbreaking that would be on one hand, and on the other hand, it would also be a little bit sad because it means that one more mystery has just been solved for us.
Yeah.
Concrete. I don't know what word I'm blank. I'm a writer. I'm blanking on the word usage now that I'm looking for. But yeah, so so as strange as it sounds, I think people are still looking for that mystery, that little jolt of fear or uncertainty that makes life interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, I can't even imagine what it would be like if it definitively.
Right.
I wonder how many people would still go out in the woods.
I probably would.
I would too. I don't know.
you
I know. I'm a knower. I'm not a. I've had a Class A sighting
Oh wow, okay.
twice. So for me, but I still go out there. I
Yeah.
still go out and I traipse through the woods, even by myself like a moron.
Hey,
But anyway.
I can't bring my wife with me because she is literally the biggest mosquito magnet on the
Oh my,
planet. So that would make a horrible headline the next day. So
right.
poor thing, I can't bring her out with me. So but yeah, hopefully eventually I'll get one of my sons to come on out in the woods with me. So
Very cool. So which episode, like the topic, surprised you the most after researching it?
oh, let's see. I had of the most recent ones that I've done, I had not heard a lot about the Barksdale UFO drone incursion that had just happened only, back in March.
Yep.
So for me researching that, it was very interesting to see the level of how much tamping down had been done with regard to news about that situation. Certainly, it appeared on all the local outlets around Barksdale Air Force Base, but apart from that, I hadn't heard anything up here in the Northeast about it. That's for
Right.
sure. you know, so for me, that was really interesting to read about. Um, the developments at Loch Ness were another one that was good, and then I think just overall as I because Dogman for me was not something that I was intimately familiar with. That was really fascinating, and in contrasting with that, this whole notion of werewolves over in the UK, that was really interesting to me, that there is a definitive like, they think they have a werewolf problem in the UK, so,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and it was just wow, okay, I hadn't even seen that, and I'd seen anything about that, quite frankly, and when that episode excuse me, when that episode actually took off, and I started hearing from a ton of people in the UK, it just I was like, "I had no idea this was this big,"
That
you
it's an actual
know?
thing. Yeah.
That's an actual thing, yeah.
It's crazy. Um, so after studying all this stuff, right? The stories, the phenomenon, what do you think deserves more like serious attention? Like UFOs, you got hauntings, cryptids,
Yeah.
synchronicities, ancient mysteries, all that stuff. What do you think really deserves some serious attention?
I think the easy answer is, like you said, UFOs, cryptids, stuff like that. But I think more attention needs to be paid toward the idea of lost civilizations and pre-human history. We went through this whole period where archaeologists and anthropologists were so convinced that they had the timeline of our evolution down, and now we're finding out that, every day there's literally a discovery that pushes that timeline back. And I'm a big fan of Robert Howard and
Yep.
his Conan the Conqueror and Conan the Barbarian
Yep.
stories, and his prehistory of humanity has just always fascinated me to the point where I wish we invested more in trying to figure out what is our exact timeline, what may have happened to, I mean, did we rise and then there was this epic disaster and then we had to start over? I've always just been so fascinated by that idea that our timeline is not what we thought it was when I was growing up. Certainly, it's, well before that. So,
So bizarre.
yeah,
I mean, it's not bizarre, it's just out there.
yeah, yeah. But I wish we took more of that seriously as opposed to I feel like with a lot of academics, if you don't sort of toe the line, the established line, then all of a sudden you become this fringe lunatic. And that's not helping anybody. That's just helping somebody's ego. It's not helping
Right.
the cause
Right.
of civilization. you
Like you're not
know?
actually trying to find out the truth. You're just trying to either get research grants or whatever.
Get
And
your
I
tenure.
understand.
Yeah, yeah,
I
right,
get it.
yeah. Yeah.
I get it, but at the end of the day, that doesn't help anybody. It's like the fact that the Egyptologist folks, they're like, this is how it is and this is it. We're not going to let anyone look at anything else to try and disprove it or prove it or whatever. And you find out that they're it muddles everything.
Yep.
So, and it makes you at the end of the day, it makes your whole profession look shady, and it's just not cool.
Yeah, and it doesn't, it doesn't help us. So if we are able to get to a place where we definitively know what our own timeline is, then that's just going to make it easier to figure out what these other phenomenon are. Because if we are able to say concretely, this is when we developed, this is where we are now, there were all these things that happened in between, you're going to start finding tendrils to other phenomenon that could then be explained by that.
Mhm.
But we operate from this perspective of, well, we think this is the timeline for this particular civilization, and we think
Right.
that this is, and so nothing's really known. So how do we expect to be able to factually say this phenomenon does exist, this one doesn't, this, that, and the other thing, if we can't even get our own story straight?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even our human story.
Right.
Um, I mean, they'll say, and they will say that, at one point there was up to 7 hominids living in conjunction, essentially,
Right.
on this planet at one time. Everything from, Homo florensis to Homo sapien, Neanderthal, Desnovans, a couple others, Homo erectus. But what they don't talk about then is that the same way that they figured these things out is that if they look at our genome, there's other species there, or other, it's not, species is not the right word, but
Markers.
there's other markers that
Yeah.
show that we interbreeded with other things that that we don't have an archaeological or fossil record for, but there's something like, a dozen or so that they can identify, and they know that it's a unknown hominid,
Right.
but
But yeah,
but
I mean, it's like going to your relatives and going, I heard I have a cousin Harold somewhere. What's that story? Oh, well, so and so shacked up with so and so. We don't want to talk
right.
about that
Yeah,
anymore,
and they're from like Botswana, but we don't
Right,
know anything about
it's,
it. Like
yeah,
it's so random. Like
yeah.
you're
They might be at Thanksgiving this year, but if so, just tread carefully, kind of
right.
thing.
But these ones are not even the same genus, it's like, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Genus, species. They're not
Yeah.
even the same. They're human, but they're a different type of human. And we
Right.
don't know. So, I mean, that's a real thing. And
Yeah.
so that's the kind of thing that opens doors, right? And wow, it's just wild. So,
That would be what I would like to see us be able to establish, would be a definitive timeline of human history and everything that we interacted with and where it went and which branch died off and which branch was killed off, because that probably happened too. And and then once we get that figured out, it just makes it easier in my mind to sort of start tackling these other mysteries of the universe.
yeah.
So
And the fact that there are other mysteries, it's like modern society has become entirely too materialistic to
hmm
understand, to understand, and en masse, I should say. And, because there are people like us that understand that there is an unseen side of all of this.
right.
And there's an unseen side of life.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I think we're just too materialistic as a species, or maybe a culture, because other cultures,
Yeah.
it's part of their life. So,
I think we've forgotten a lot of what we used to be. So the fifth degree black belt test in the martial art that I study is the ability to sense this murderous intention, so to speak. So basically, it involves you kneel, grandmaster of the system stands behind you, swings a sword at the back of your head, and you have to sense his killer intent and roll out of the way. So a lot of people look at it and go, "Oh, that's just, mumbo jumbo." But if you've been in a bad situation before, you generally become aware, if not when it's happening, in the aftermath of it happening, of this sort of sensation that you get in the pit of your stomach, or you feel it in the back of your shoulders, and that's a relic instinct that we have that has been dulled by the onslaught of modern society. And so this martial art that I study is designed to sort of peel that back and get rid of that fluff and reawaken that instinct within you. There's nothing supernatural about it. It just used to be very much a part of who we as humans were, because you had a saber-toothed tiger lurking around the corner from you, and you need to be able to sense that if you hope to survive. And so there is this whole other side that we have lost touch with, that exists in a very real way. Ask any combat veteran who's been out on patrol in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden you want to stop. Why am I stopping?
The
You
spidey
know?
senses go off.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah. So, I mean, why do you think the mainstream media often, I say mainstream media, but I mean, just the general media in general, often mocks fringe subjects until suddenly they begin, they
They're
become
not so fringe
acceptable.
anymore.
Right.
I think modern media in all of its forms is designed to feed a certain sense of appeasement to the public. They know what the public is looking for. They've gotten that down to a science. They know that, if it bleeds, it leads. They've
It's
got to
true. Yeah.
they've got to instill that immediate sense of, oh my God, and then they start hitting on the emotional, rage points. And we've got good news tonight. After 29 and a half minutes of absolute horror, that you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, I thought my life sucked. Look at all these poor people. He just lost his house to a tornado. A busload of nuns goes over a cliff. But oh no, hold on, we've got good news. And here's the story of Frankie the puppy that we're going to show you. It's going to make you feel all good. Oh, that's nice. Now I can go eat my dinner. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow when we talk about the weather again, because 40 million people are under alert for rain. It's just,
Right.
one thing. I mean, every day I turn on the news and I watch about 5 minutes of the headlines. And one of these morning shows, it's been the weather consistently for the last 3 months. And that's not to take anything away from it. There's some severe weather going on. But at the same time, this is going to now morph. It's going to morph from tornadoes and heavy rain. It's going to morph into temperature as we come into the summer. 40 million people at risk of high temperature. It's just sort of, so they've gotten this all down to a science and how to get to us. And I
The
think they just serve
algorithm.
that up. At the end of the day, they've got to sell advertising. That's how they
True.
make their money.
Yeah. The
So
algorithm.
the days of Walter Cronkite and independent thinking journalism is, as far as I'm concerned, it's over. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. What separates people who chase truth from people who just chase attention?
Hmm.
Speaking of Cronkite.
Yeah. Well, people who chase attention tend to come and go. People who chase truth tend to stick around in some form or another, at least, until they find what they're looking for, or piss off enough people so that they are effectively muzzled. Um, I think people that seek truth, I think they live a hard life, quite frankly. It's hard to walk a path that is different from others, because so many people, if they have a good intention of setting out to try to find the truth in something, as soon as there's an obstacle, most of them will say, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe this is too difficult. Maybe I don't want to ruffle feathers, rock the boat, that sort of thing. If you're actually seeking the truth, you tend to have a very what I would call immovable spirit, where you're just going to keep walking that path regardless. And you acknowledge the fact that there are going to be obstacles and hindrances to you, but you stay on that path regardless, and you keep going until you're satisfied with what you find.
Um, if you could investigate one mystery firsthand anywhere on Earth, what would it be?
Probably, I would say the Yeti in Bhutan. because that is probably one of the most remote countries on the planet. It takes a hell of a lot of luck to even be admitted into that country. And it was supposedly the setting for Shangri-La. And the idea of being in such a remote, beautiful wilderness, looking for a creature like the Yeti, who may be related to Sasquatch, may not be, that would be pretty cool. I would be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Isn't Bhutan the happiest place on earth? Weren't they like?
Supposedly one of them, I think Finland was the other, wasn't it? Or
Yeah, I can't remember. There was that one study, and I couldn't remember if it was Bhutan or if it was what else is right there. It's not the. It wasn't Nepal, but I think it was Bhutan.
yeah, I
They said
can't
that the
imagine.
people are the happiest or whatever.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be like Turkmenistan or Kyrgyzstan or any of the other
No, I
stands
can't
over
think it would be
there.
those either. Yeah.
We love the Soviet ferro concrete buildings. They're so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, can you? I spent a little time in Uzbekistan, and it was like, what in the heck?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're in the USSR, straight
Yeah.
up.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, the wall has not fallen along here.
Yeah, that's so. Speaking of my genetic research stuff that I've been doing, like one of the things that's cool about those folks in like Bhutan, in the Tibetan plateau,
Yeah.
is that they have something like anywhere from like 5 to 8% of their DNA is from from Desnovans.
Yep.
And Desnovans were known. It's like the one thing that they can show is that they were highly adapted for high altitude living. And this is one of the reasons that they thrive up there. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But
The
that's the
the
coolest thing to
Sherpas.
me.
Oh yeah, and the Sherpas are able to carry how many
I mean, it's
times their body weight?
insane.
It's they get the straps around the forehead, and they're just like,
Right.
my God, I've heard of neck exercises before, but that's something else.
Yeah.
It
Great.
reminds me of that there's an island in the South Pacific where the people there have been adapted to holding their breath for longer,
Hmm.
being able to swim under and
Aren't those
fish.
like the pearl divers too, I think?
I think the pearl divers as well, but this is in the South Pacific, and they can hold their breath for some insane amount of time. And it would be fascinating to see what their genetic,
Yeah.
makeup is, and
Fish,
what they might
mermaid.
share. Yeah, yeah, right, right.
Kevin Waterworld.
Splash.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
now I'm dating myself. Oh
Oh,
my
me
God,
too. I
that's a
like
really
that was a
old
Daryl
reference.
Hannah movie. I remember that. It was Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks, Daryl Hannah.
Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Yeah. What's scarier? What we know or what we don't know?
Oh, what we don't know. What we don't know. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten up in the middle of the night and the moon just comes through the curtains in such a way that, makes you think, wow, that's really bright. Is there something outside? You you peek through the curtains expecting to see this spacecraft or
Oh, you're
something
just
like
waiting
that.
for something. You're like,
Just
oh,
waiting. Yeah, yeah. And it's that tightrope where you're like, wow, that'd be really cool, but also I'd be really terrified, but also that would be
yeah,
really cool.
yeah. No, I know. Oh man, because we live on woods as well. So behind us, and I'll look out into those woods at night and just be like, man, what's going on out there? Like,
Yep. Yep.
so crazy. One strange topic people laugh at now that you think they may take seriously in like say 10 years.
Hmm. Wow, that's a good question. I think the Dogman. I would have to go with that simply because, like I said earlier, for me, Dogman was new. When I started hearing about it, I went, well, that's just a werewolf, isn't it? And the Dogman and the werewolf people they're very careful. They're like, no, no, the werewolf is supernatural and it transforms, whereas the Dogman is its own individual cryptid
Yeah,
species.
right.
And so, um, I think it just seems to me that there's been a lot more around that phenomenon happening lately, especially with the land between the lakes and some of these other areas that we're seeing, and even the most recent episode of the Weekly Strange that dropped yesterday on Dogman sightings in Connecticut. what started in Michigan, excuse me, and in Wisconsin is now just sort of seemed to spread everywhere. And I think we're going to see a lot more attention on that. As many
Yeah.
people, as many people who don't believe in Bigfoot or Sasquatch, it's definitely more mainstream than Dogman is. And I think that in the future, Dogman will probably achieve, you know, parity with Sasquatch in that regard.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about it that terrifies me. Like
Yeah.
Sasquatch, not a giant ape walking through the you know, a
That's
bipedal ape walking through the woods. That doesn't scare me at all, but this dog does.
yeah.
But see, there's also a historical precedent for like dog-headed men, like
Yep.
the Cephaly. I mean, there's a whole city, and I can't remember where it's at, but it's somewhere in the Middle East
Yep.
that is named after these dog-headed men. It's like the city of dogs,
Yeah.
right? So,
Or even the episode I did with the Ablet, which is this Inuit creature that that they considered they would go to war with tribes of these creatures, these
right.
canid creatures,
Yeah.
and we have excuse me, as you said, we have historical perspective for the existence of Dogman, and
Yeah.
it's been fascinating for me to learn as I try to bring out new episodes on it to learn more about this. And I really do think that that's going to be an interesting development in the world of the paranormal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a cross thing too, that's kind of more of a, so there's the classes of Bigfoot, right?
right.
Or Sasquatch or whatever you want to call them. But I want to say it's like a class 3 or class 4 that's more like baboon like. And
Hmm.
that can be very much like a canid because they have the snout. So who knows? I mean, who knows? It's just wild. The stuff that's coming out of here now. And
I
that's
love it though.
really,
I
it
love it.
is. It's really cool. It is really freaking crazy though. So, um, so what do you believe after everything you've studied? What do you believe really actually exists?
It's funny. The deeper you get into trying to study these phenomena, the more you find your opinion doesn't necessarily change, but it evolves. And
Yeah.
so when I started the Weekly Strange, I was very much of the opinion that Sasquatch was a relict hominid that we have just somehow lost track of, and it's found a way to survive. But over the last year and a quarter at this point, I'm not so sure. I really am not, and I think that's also part of the appeal as to why people enjoy paranormal shows like yours and like mine, hopefully, and like countless others, is because it's nice when you don't have the answers. It's nice to allow yourself the freedom to change your belief about a topic. The current state of affairs in the world in general right now is that people have an opinion about something, and then that then becomes their little fortress that they will defend until the dying day. You can't really do that in the paranormal world
No.
because the nature of the paranormal world is one that is always changing and always evolving. And for me, the idea of saying, okay, I thought Sasquatch was a relic hominid, but I could have been wrong. Here's a piece of information that has just shifted my perception of that creature. And now I'm sort of kind of over here, but maybe I'm over here. And if somebody brings me something compelling from over here, I'll consider that too. And there's a certain liberation, a certain freedom that goes along with that where you don't have to sort of plant your flag and say, I know for a fact that this is this.
Yeah.
It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be, educated. I've had people reach out on episodes of my show and say, hey, you got that wrong. This is actually, and this is speaking more about the Lost Civilization episodes. This is actually where this came from. And like I write them back and I say, "Thank you. That's fantastic. I did
Absolutely.
not know that. Thank you for correcting me." You know?
Yeah.
So
I absolutely think I mean, this podcast started as a Sasquatch podcast, and
Oh, you did, yeah, and then you expanded,
because everything rhymes. So it was
right?
so at the end of the day, I'm really into the whole, everything from the genetic side, but I've really gone in a biblical direction, as a Christian anyway. But it's not in a normal Christian route. It is
Yep,
a
yep,
very
sure.
supernatural route. But at the end of the day, it all rhymes. So I
Many
couldn't just stick in the lane. I can't
I'm
do
the
it.
same way. It's funny. Going back to the YouTube thing. I look at my videos. I'm like, well, clearly everybody loves the Bigfoot videos, but I don't want to just have a Bigfoot channel because
Yeah,
I love all of this stuff. Literally, I get these little digests and I go out and I research little things, and every day there's something new. There's some little mystery that doesn't fall necessarily into the Bigfoot Sasquatch lane, and so I want to have the freedom to explore that. I don't ever want to be sort
yeah,
of pigeonholed the same way, if I write urban fantasy novels, but then I have an idea for a sword and sorcery novel. I want to have that freedom.
yeah.
Um, so
Right.
I think at the end of the day, right, especially, with having gone through this sarcoma thing, the biggest luxury that we have is time. The second biggest luxury that we have is the freedom to explore that time. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I want to see everything. I want to experience everything.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. I just can't pigeonhole myself anymore.
No,
I can't do it. Um,
no,
Everyone else tries to pigeonhole you, and I fight against it. It's like, ugh, it gives me the ick. So I'm like, nope, I'm gonna do this just because you don't want me to. So I
yes,
literally,
exactly.
I just took one of my daughters, her friend, and my wife to Gettysburg, and
Nice.
talk about a place
Yeah,
that's, if there's a haunted place on earth, it's there. Oh
you would
my
think.
Lord.
You
Oh my
would
gosh.
think. Yeah,
So, at the end of the day, I did a bunch of footage and we're going to do an episode on it. But
awesome.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's just how it works.
I
I
the more eyes, the more people that are interested in this, as far as I'm concerned, the better.
yeah,
Bring this out. Show us how you research it. Show us how you study it. Show us how you go out and investigate it, because it helps us all, as
yeah,
far as I'm concerned.
absolutely.
And
I
that's,
mean,
at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
yeah.
That's what
So
I'm
with
trying to
that,
help. Yeah.
how are we seeing an awakening? Or are we just in information overload, considering that we get bombarded from all directions,
I think we are seeing a type of awakening. I think more people are saying, especially because of YouTube and because of the shows like ours that are out there. I think a lot of people are saying, "Wow, this guy seems pretty well grounded. He's kind of skeptical, but he's also open to stuff. Maybe there's something to this." I mean, if you watch a show and they're out in the middle of the woods and every little twig break that they hear, they kind of go, "Oh my God, that's going to be a Bigfoot." Then there's not a
then
lot of
that's a problem,
credibility.
right?
I mean, it's but if you're out with somebody and they hear a twig break and the first thing they say is, well, that was a twig break, that's not a Sasquatch, then you can kind of buy into it a little bit more, because
Yeah,
especially so much of our audience are experienced outdoorsmen who know every sound that every animal makes out in the woods. They've
yeah,
been there, and so credibility is this sort of idea. But I think a lot of people find credible channels that they like for the presentation, for the production, and that may then encourage them to go out and start their own channel. Because maybe they've had an experience that they couldn't explain, but if they look at it from a certain perspective, they say, I might have something to add to the conversation, which again is a good thing, you know?
yeah. I just try to really highlight that humanity, has
Hmm.
always lived beside the unknown. We have
Yep.
always lived beside the unknown. But now, we finally have cameras and platforms to convey that and show it and
Yep.
discuss it in a very personal way. And I think that's what's going on. It's that, it's exactly what you said. that we're able to actually show it. Now, unfortunately, AI is kind of tweaked that a
Oof.
little bit because,
Yeah.
what is real anymore? But that's not the point, actually,
Yeah.
is that I think that folks like us need to just report what we see, what we experience, and it's the chaff and the wheat. It all gets
Definitely.
the wind will figure it all out, right? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why
um,
any field investigation that I do, there's a guy that I like. His name is his channel is Mike Wanders, and he
oh,
goes out
I know who
by
that is.
himself.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But his thing is always very much like, look, if nothing happens, I'm going to tell you nothing happens,
right.
know.
Yeah,
So that's kind of the approach that I take, and I'm only just starting to do the field research episodes.
yeah.
But
But
I've got some.
you have a target rich area where you live.
Yeah,
There's a couple spots where it's
we're going to be bringing some. My uncle lives in the heart of the Bridgewater Triangle,
oh baby.
so he's had some very interesting experiences. And this is an exclusive for your channel, Bennett, because nobody over on mine even knows that we're doing this yet. But we're going to be doing some. So we're going to sit down with him, do some interviews. We're going to go out, and he's going to take us to the places that he's actually had these experiences. So I'm really looking forward to that. He's a great guy. He's got a great character about him. So
Yeah,
yeah,
some puckwudgie
could be, could be.
stuff going on there.
Yeah, it's
So
a
there's
strange
another
place.
guy, I can't remember his name though, because he literally has dropped off the face of the planet.
Oh,
I mean, he's still around, but he doesn't do it anymore because he had too much stuff happen
uh,
and it started to affect his psyche and his life. And he's like, I'm done.
wow.
And I can't remember his name.
Hmm.
When I do find him, I'll send
Yeah,
it to
please
you.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he was a super interesting dude. And I had him on, I had him set up to come on the podcast and then he canceled because he's like, I'm done. I was
Wow.
like, okay, wow. All right.
Interesting.
Um, so last question. This show is called Broadcasting Seeds, and I like people to plant seeds as their last thing on the show.
Okay.
So, do you have a seed that you would like to plant in the audience's mind?
Just the working hypothesis that I mentioned earlier that that Sasquatch is closer to our civilization than we give them credit for. If you look at the map of Massachusetts, especially, and I'm sure that this is the same with any sort of major urban area, there are green corridors that they can easily use to come in and leave. Where I grew up in the neighborhood of Jamaica Plain in Boston, and there was a thing called the Emerald Necklace that stretched from the bottom
Yeah,
of my street, which was the Arnold Arboretum, and it was 265 acres of just gorgeous land. And it would go through Jamaica Pond, it would go down the Riverway, and it would go all the way in close to Boston Common. And it was just this green expanse, a green corridor that led right into the heart of the city. And I always, growing up, thought, what's that place like in the middle of the night? Because there's water,
yeah,
there's
right.
food, and so my seed would be to the next time if you're in the suburbs, the next time you take your dog out for a walk or you're out for a jog, look around because I really and truly feel that you don't have to be in the deep dark woods of the Pacific Northwest or down in the swamps of Louisiana or any place else that's remote to find these mysteries. I really believe that they are closer to us than we give them credit for being. So,
I agree. Absolutely. So, again, thank you so much for coming on.
oh, Bennett, thank you.
It's
It's been a
been a
pleasure,
great
man.
conversation. Tell everybody where they can find you again.
I am at the Weekly Strange, rocking our brand new T-shirts here on the
Yeah,
on the
I
podcast.
like that. It's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to get one done for Dogman too, but I'm having a little bit of hard time kind of getting the exact same vibe, but we'll see.
Got you.
Yes, the Weekly Strange episodes Tuesday night at 7, Sunday morning at 10, and here and there we throw in an extra little episode called Extra Strange if something breaks in the news or we have a little extra thing pop up. And but yeah, I'm out here on YouTube. Find us out there. You can find us on Instagram at The Weekly Strange as well, but YouTube is primarily where we're found.
Amazing. Again, thanks for coming on, and we'll do it again before you know it.
All right. I love it. I love it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Bennett. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
There's a sound behind the tree line, heavy steps when no man goes, a shape between the porch light and the place where moonlight folds. You can call it superstition, you can laugh and look away, but every town has shadows that don't sleep at end of day. And we built our glass towers with our answers in our hands, but the old world keeps breathing underneath this modern land. They're closer than you think, moving where the blacktop bends, closer than you know, where the wild begins again. There's a whisper in the static, there's a figure by the creek. You can say the dark is empty, but it's closer than you think. There are bones beneath the timeline, there are ruins under sand. Every myth was once a warning, every monster once had hands. Dog-faced kings and mountain giants, lost roads beneath the rain, and the green ways through the suburbs bring the old things back again. We keep chasing little signals through the noise and through the fear, but the mystery is mercy when the truth gets too near. They're closer than you think, moving where the blacktop ends, closer than you know, where the wild begins again. There's a whisper in the static, there's a figure by the creek. You can say the dark is empty, but it's closer than you think. Lock the door, kill the light, watch the woods through the night. Something waits, something sees, something walks between the trees. Not a dream, not a lie, not quite earth, not quite sky. Say a prayer, hold your ground, there are secrets all around. They're closer than you think, breathing in the midnight air, closer than you know, standing just beyond the glare. There's a signal in the silence, there's a shadow in the street. You can say the dark is empty, but it's closer than you think, closer than you think, closer than you think, where the old